Today I'm presenting the 3 top manufacturers entry-line digital upright pianos. Stick around, it's going to be fun and a great comparison. Hi, Ted Barcelou with Alamo Piano Galleries. If you haven't already, look for us online at alamopianogalleries.com. Shop our store, take a look at all the pianos we have, digitals, uprights, and send us questions or comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'd like to boost up the membership. It's been going really great, all things considered. And I'd love to bring you content. We'd love to hear from you. We're working on, I think this is a response video. And we've got 2 that are in the hopper coming up. So of all the listener recommended videos, we've gotten, I think, about 3 or 4 so far. So this is coming up really, really great. And as promised today, the 3 top manufacturers, we have the Kawai CN201 entry-line digital piano. And then we have the Yamaha CLP 725 in polished ebony, which is always a preference of mine. And then over here, we have the Roland HP 702. And this is their entry-line model as well. In a cold comparison, this is why these 3 are together. They're right around the $2,000 mark. There may be upwards of 5 to 10% difference on some models if your dealer is willing to make deals. We're always willing to make deals. That's why we make these videos, but also to give you some information on what it's like to play these 3 things next to one another, and also what it's like to experience it just in the room as a sound as it's your instrument, and also how, if someone asks you, so what do you think of this piano, and you bought something else, or you own it, and you considered something else, and the one they're asking you about is one you considered. Well, that's what a dealer is here for. And I do have this saying, lately there's been a lot of questions and comments. They're always there on digital pianos because they're one of the most affordable, high quality instruments you can get on the market today. When you consider that to put together a video like this years ago, you would have had to had film cameras, microphones, all this different kind of stuff just to get the look of having the instruments in the same room so you can compare what? Spin-it pianos. That's basically what we're talking about here. These are the spin-it model of upright digital pianos, and it's not just the piano sound that you get with them. They give you electric pianos, they give you synth sounds, horn sounds. They all have built-in metronomes. Some of them have built-in beatboxes. But here's some of the basic things. The Yamaha I mentioned is polished ebony, and I have to admit up front, if you hear any kind of partiality I may have to the Yamaha, it's for this simple reason. I have more experience playing this digital piano than I do any other digital piano because they basically kind of invented the digital piano with the invention of the CLP back in 1987 or 88. And ever since then, it's been slowly improved on, and they do have far better models. This is their entry line. When they only had one model, that was their entry line and their top of the line. Things are a lot different now. This model has a 256 polyphony limitation, 256K. And however, it does have a binaural sample of the CFX piano, which is Yamaha's top of the line piano. And that's why I mentioned this one first, because Yamaha and Kawai, we have them clustered together, make real pianos. Roland, on the other hand, has never made a real acoustic digital piano. So what you're dealing with here is acoustic pianos from these manufacturers sampled inside their digital pianos with their digital piano keyboard, whether it's wooden keys or it's some kind of, every one of these manufacturers has their own name for the type of key tops, whether that ebony feel or ivory feel, and then they also have whether it's wood key or wood key feel or grand feel. And the day that I shoot the videos on specific models, I'm pretty smart on what the manufacturers call their product, but for the most part, there's not a whole lot of difference between the feel on these keyboards. The reason why I mentioned I may be somewhat partial to the way the Yamaha feels is because I've played more of them over the years with or without being plugged in. And I've gotten really used to the keyboard. It's not the most sensitive, dynamic thing, but it's something that most keyboard players are somewhat familiar with. and they kind of seem to not mind it and run with it. The Kawai CN201 does run a little bit more than the other two models that are here, and mostly that's because they tend to fill it up with a lot more piano education-driven practice, repetition, a lot of scoring, and they all do have the ability to record and playback, but Kawai also includes this other feature where you do not have to be a piano player or a musician. It's, I think it's called Concert Page. They have a name for it, I'm not with it, but you turn it on and it plays the music, and then all you really have to do is tap to the rhythm or follow the melody line, and the whole orchestra moves along with you. That's something that the Kawai training program asks you, when you have these in your store, have that on, have that feature, and so when the family comes in, and the dad, who obviously in these environments never knows how to play, can touch it, and then he can actually play a song from the very beginning, and that's something he thinks, hey, I would like that. Well, that feature runs about a couple $100 when you get done finishing that. The Kawai is the more expensive model. Each of them have somewhere between a 28 to a 40 watt sound system on board. Most of them have 2 speakers. The Kawai's ported, the Yamaha's ported. They all have a ported sound system in it. For the most part, the Yamaha has a 2x20 watt system, and the Kawai, I didn't get it, but I believe it's like around 30, somewhere around 32. And the Roland system has 2 14 watt systems, each for left and right. They all have stereo. They all have about the same 12 centimeter or 4 3/4 or 4.5 inch speakers in them. So there's a lot of similarities in the overall presentation of the piano. Some of them look like they could almost come from the same case manufacturer. Again, the one thing that I always think makes these little pianos, these little digitals, entry lines really, really nice for the home and aesthetic is to get them in polished ebony. It does cost a little bit more. It doesn't give you any more instrument in terms of touch, tone, timbre, and sound, all that stuff, but it does make it look really nice, and it does attract a lot of attention. And so it's always more fun to play something that looks like a piano. The Roland is the only model of these 3 that uses, they use modeling to generate their sound. They use the supernatural piano modeling. They have, their product name is PHA-4, standard keyboard resolution for it to play. It's weighted, they're fully plastic keys. The thing plays great. The one thing I can say is when you start laying all of these options out here, the Roland HP702 is very, very difficult to compete with in terms of pricing, in terms of what you get, in terms of joy and an inspiring instrument to play. That's the main thing. How inspiring are these instruments to play in terms of, is this really recreating in a real way the concept of a grand piano, because that's where they're getting their sounds from? And does it kind of feel like that? And do I get just as inspired in a small way off of this instrument for what it brings? And the answer usually always has to be yes. However, I will say the Roland steals the cake because it has unlimited polyphony, and it just feels more like a great, great upright piano with a grand piano. It's supposed to be a grand piano experience when you play these things, and it really is. Only the natural piano sounds, the acoustic piano sound, has the ability with the unlimited polyphony. The rest of the sounds are limited to 384K note polyphony. And the Kawai is also 256K. And the Kawai has their resolution hammer. They have their Hammer 3, I think it's their Resonant Hammer 3. They have Bluetooth in the Kawai and Bluetooth in the Roland. The Yamaha does not. The Yamaha has 19 sounds, and there's over hundreds of sounds in both the Kawai and in the Roland. And this is where I have to say that this is where a lot of the product and the competition just kind of falls out, because most people are looking for 100% guarantee and confident when they buy a piano. A lot of times they're running on experience of acoustic pianos. They're running on Kawai making pianos, Yamaha making pianos, and Roland being one of the leading electronic instrument manufacturers in the world. So what we're going to do here is compare the sounds on these things, and then I don't know what order they're going to present them in, but I'll tell you, they're all a joy to play. They're all right around a $2,000 price range, and they are all inspiring, maybe some more than others. And a certain kind of touch, tone, and response is something that is also tied in with using the pedals, both the sustain and a soft pedal. I don't do much with the sostenuto pedal on a digital piano at all. Let's have a listen. I'll come back for a wrap up. Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to the samples. I tried to play each of the songs at least in the same kind of keys, the same kind of chord changes, passages maybe, and played them a little bit different so that each thing at least had the same tonal characteristics for comparison purposes, because they are going to sound different. They do play and respond different. Again, I am partial to the Roland only because I absolutely love the way it feels when you press on a sustain pedal and you just play and it's just open like a harp. I've never really had a digital piano that gave that kind of wonderful experience like that. You're almost just like, wow, this is just like a great piano. And the only other reason why I lean toward the Roland in this price category is just real simple, the warranty. While all of the top instrument manufacturers have great warranty programs, they're like 5 years and then maybe 2 years limited on to parts and labor on electronics. I'm not sure where they are. I've been selling them for a long time. I've been out of selling for a long time, but most electronic things don't go beyond 2 or 5 years. They're not like acoustic pianos where they'll go 10 years, with the exception of the Roland model. It has a 10-year parts and labor, and the parts and labor are provided on site. So the repairman comes and repairs this thing. There's no other instrument or other thing that I'm aware of that you can buy that's electronic in this day and age, where when it breaks down, they come to your house and fix it. And with that, thank you for your time and your attention. This is Ted Barsley with Alamo Piano Galleries. You can look for us in Ohio, Michigan, St. Louis, Kansas City, and also in Texas. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you next time.